Hey everybody, my name is Chris Oxholm. Good for all of you to see me finally. Today we're going over the explicit teaching principles, mainly the four instructional domains. So let's get started without any further ado here. So the four domains indeed are planning and preparation, environment, instruction, and professional responsibilities. Okay, now we'll move on to what each of those mean individually. Planning and preparation, right here I have instruction design, and that means how are you going to teach the class? What is your lesson going to look like? Are you going to write on the board? Are you just going to talk? Are you going to make a PowerPoint presentation like this and show that and talk while you do that? Demonstrate your knowledge, meaning show that you actually know what you're talking about. You know, when I worked for Dish Cable years ago, and we called out our teacher at training because he couldn't tell us what a joule was, like in energy. There's like kinetic energy and stuff, and he could not tell us what a joule was. And a joule, I think, is like a measurement. It's like miles per hour, but with electricity. And he could not demonstrate that knowledge, and we all saw right through it. So always make sure you have knowledge of what you're teaching. Don't just read it out of the book. Always make sure you go over what the class's goals are, and always give them plenty of resources for them to work and for them to succeed, because they're going to need to get the ball rolling somehow, and that's what we're here to do, right? Okay, moving on. The next is environment. All right, plain and simple, tidy up. Make sure your room is clean, okay? Everybody love everybody, all right? Show respect. Make sure that everyone's treating each other correctly and no distractions. I mean, I know that's impossible, and I've worked in multiple situations with bad distractions, with no distractions, quiet, loud, but try your best. And the first step, that's why I said tidy up first, because I think that's my hardest thing, so I'm going to try to tell everybody to do the same. I got to improve there. I think everybody can at some point. All right, moving on, the next domain, instruction. Good communication. Make sure you have eye contact, at least with every student, at least once a day. Because if they're not looking at your kids one-on-one and at least giving them the impression that they exist, how else are they going to know that you're even talking to them? Because some kids don't function like that. Sometimes I don't, That's my struggle with online classes is I'm not looking at a teacher. It's really hard for me some weeks. And that goes right onto engaging, talk to them, not at them, I guess. Talk with your class. Make sure you have questions. Ask questions to see if they have questions. Get anything you can get out of them. Does this make sense? Do you understand that? Do you want me to explain more? And then finally, feedback and flexibility. Always give them your feedback. Hey, Johnny, that's really good. And yeah, instead of a superhero, you can do a supervillain kind of thing, Be flexible with it. Don't make everything your way or the highway, because not everybody learns the same. I know that I don't. There's a lot of ways. If I have to read 35 pages and do a summary for each page, I'm never going to be able to remember that much detail. It'll take me forever to do that. So flexibility is really good with your students. Make sure you can do that for each of them. Okay. Professional responsibilities. It actually took me a minute to understand what the book and what my resources were talking about at first, but really what it came down to me was just your work outside of the classroom. Okay, reflect on how you're teaching for one, and I have maintaining records, so make sure you write down everything they do. I mean, even if it's not a grade, you just had progress, jot it down. I mean, we all know that. We've all been told to do that, and we all don't do it sometimes, but we need to all be better at that. I myself need to. And communications with the students and with the parents. I mean, we talk to your IEP kids every single day, and even the non-IEP kids, because they can benefit. Maybe they're struggling without one, but a lot of communication with IEP kids. They need to be reminded that they're worth something. I had an IEP growing up, and trust me, there were some days where if a teacher didn't really acknowledge me, then I was like, what's the point? I don't know. So it is very important. You need to talk with them, and to some level, be eye to eye with them. It's very important. Now, this was the final domain. Moving on, we're going to learn how we can use all four of these domains in these two strategies that I have, I guess, routed and developed in my own. So, teach for SPED. Right here, I think all of us in this class are probably SPED majors, if not something similar, and we'll all be working with SPED kids at some point. teach for your sped students, meaning accommodations. Always have your eye on accommodations. I didn't put this on there, but always make sure privacy is huge. No one wants to know you're on an IEP. And change the way you grade, okay? You can do it off of performance-based and not scores, as if, have they improved? Okay, last time he didn't get any right. This week he got 4 right, and he did all the work. So why don't we reward that? Let's not give him a 40. 4 out of 10 is not good, but 4 out of 10 is 100% better than none out of 10, right? So sometimes you just have to strategize the way you grade. And it's not making them pass. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just not everybody's going to get to the same point. Let's not all make perfectionists. Let's all make everybody understand, okay? And that's all I meant by that. And teach in tiers. All right, we kind of did that this week with our assignment. I separated mine and my 3 tiers a little differently than how the assignment was given to us. But I just call it the IEP tier, the typical/average tier, and the advanced tier. And it's all IEP kids are confidential anyway, and the advanced kids, we don't need to. I coach football and wrestling, and I hate only talking with and hanging out or whatever with the athletic kids or the best players on the team. How's that going to make anyone else better? So if we take our advanced kids and so IEP, obviously, I'm jumping around here. IEP, obviously they're the ones with the accommodations, okay, and they're separated by that. Your typical average kids are the ones who are obviously right in the middle with no IEP. Some of them struggle. Some of them might even do worse than your IEP kids sometimes. But the advanced tier, where they're different, is where I would give them opportunity for extra credit by helping struggling students. And that's just one way to separate kids who are advancing away from the typical and the IEP. So, and then that also at the same time keeps them together. And then here we are working as a team. Bada bing, bada boom. Well, thanks, guys. Here are the 2 references I had. I hope you guys are all going to have a lovely week now. And happy Father's Day. Take care.